Morning, guys. It is Saturday morning at 5:09 in the a.m. Oh, my stomach's growling already. How you doing? I just woke up. I actually got up around 4:30 or so. I have to leave the house this morning at 8 o'clock. Oh, wait. It's day 16. I have to leave the house this morning at 8. I have to take Scott to the bus because he's working this morning. Yeah. So, I'm gluing Dad's thing today. I have 2 more little drawings I have to do and a couple little filler drawings that I think I might add. And then I have to do like 2 other things to go with it. I've got to get showered and dressed and moving. Yeah. Because then by the time I get back today, it's probably going to be like 11 o'clock. I'm not looking forward to the traffic where I'm going. We have an area called Renton, and that's where IKEA is, and that's where the car place is. Oh, and the traffic is so stupid. I think my camera's about to collapse. My tripod's like, I hope Santa brought me a tripod. This little thing I have is not that great. Scott and the kids and I had fun. That's usually what we do on a Friday night. We just hang out in the kitchen and listen to music and sing. And in the summer, like once it gets nice out, probably starting in May or so, we take the party outside. Wake up! You got stuff to do. Okay. Once I get this thing done for Dad, then I'm good because I just have to finish some Christmas shopping. We got some stuff for Scott last night. A couple more things for the kids. So yeah. I'm starting earlier next year, I swear to God. Like, next year, I'm going to at least buy, oh God, gift cards. I'm fine with the shopping. It's just the money part that stresses me out a little bit. Today is actually, where is that book? December 16th. Let me show you what happened 20 years ago today on December 16th. One moment, please. Yeah, so the garage is a hot mess right now because we didn't put the Christmas bins back up top. I said, just leave them there because in a couple weeks we're going to put everything back in bins anyway, so just leave it. So they're blocking all the stuff in the garage where I believe the album is for my story. But anyway, I'm going to just tell you the story. So 97, 20 years ago, Scott and I were living in Fredericton, New Brunswick. And we were living in a little green house, and he had to go to Toronto for a business trip. The 13th, I went down to Halifax because Annette was pregnant with Kylie. And they were in the middle of moving to their new house. I had to take the bus and go down to Halifax because I was going to help Annette with the move because she was very pregnant. So that was fine. And it was Christmas and she was stressed out and the whole thing. So I went down on the bus. So that was on the 13th. On the 16th, we wouldn't have had cell phones. So he called me from a payphone and he's like, or no, he called me from the hotel and he said, I'm not ready. I should probably get ready. I'm like, Scott, you have nothing packed. Like, you got to get everything together and get back on the plane. You got to get to the airport still and blah, blah, blah. So I had a very frustrating conversation with him. And I was like, yeah, okay, figure it out, duh, or something like this. And I get off the phone and Annette looks at me and I'm like, what? She goes, well, it was a bad conversation. I was like, well, he's frustrating me. And she's like, yeah, and he's about to get on a plane. Like, you probably shouldn't have a bad conversation before someone flies. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I never really thought about that. I leave her house, go up to Mom and Dad's. I'm in bed and I'm not asleep yet, but the phone rings and it's midnight and I'm like, what the hell? So Dad comes to the door, or Mom comes, I can't remember who came to the door. Was it Mom? Mom came to the door and she said, Scott's on the phone. I'm like, why is Scott on the phone? It's midnight. Why would he call so late? So I go take the phone and the first words out of his mouth are, Tanya. And I instantly went, oh my God, what's wrong? because we never use each other's names. Rarely do we use each other's names. I call him Boo, he calls me Boo, or we just hey or whatever. But it was very strange that he would say Tanya. And I was like, what's wrong? He said, I'm okay, but the plane crashed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, the plane crashed. And I'm like, but you're talking to me. He goes, yeah. He said, the plane crashed. I'm at the airport. We hit a tree. I have to go. There's people waiting in line to use the phone because they were on payphones. And I was like, call me back. He goes, I'll call you back when I can. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? So I wait a few minutes and I'm like talking to mom and dad, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. He's at the airport, but he's in a plane crash. So it made no sense to me because I'm like, how do you crash at an airport? But they were in Fredericton, and I'm like, well, he's trying to get to Fredericton. So I was so freaking confused. He ended up calling me back, and he said the plane tried to land in fog, and there was snow everywhere, and the plane overshot the runway, and they crashed and hit a tree. So I'm like, okay. And I said, are you okay? And he goes, yeah. He said, they're taking us all to the hospital. I'm like, okay. So then I had to call his mom, and I called her, and I was like, okay, he's okay. You just need to know he's okay. I just talked to him, but his plane crashed. I'm going to get more information from him, but he's fine, and he's going to the hospital. So what happened was the plane, it was a new pilot, and at that time of night in Fredericton, they closed down the control tower. They just radio from Moncton's airport, and then that's how they land the planes. Like, you good? Yeah. Did you see anything? No. Okay, put your plane down. Like, there was no one there. And there's a joke that was in the paper a couple days later, and it showed like the tower and the plane, and I think the pilot's going, uh-oh, and there's a little mouse sitting in the air traffic control, and there's cobwebs and stuff everywhere, like as if nobody's, in the tower, because there wasn't. So what happened was the plane came in like this, came into the airport, came into the runway, but it was dense fog. They could not see, and it was a young pilot, and they did one of these, and then one of these, and then they got it straightened up, and they hit the ground, knocked the wheels off the thing, and banged and crashed into the woods. There was snow, which they landed in, which helped, because they say that absorbed the fuel, and if it hadn't absorbed the fuel, it might not have ended so good. Before takeoff in Toronto, Scott said, can I switch my seat? He said, there's space there. Can I sit there? And they said, well, he wanted to switch seats in Toronto. The only place they had was space in the emergency aisle, and they needed someone to sit in the emergency aisle, and he wanted more leg room, so they sat him by the window, and they said, are you willing and able to help if there's an emergency? And he's like, yeah, sure. He was the one that took the door off the plane, so he took the door off and threw it out the window. Well, it wasn't out the window, it was the door, was the hole, and he threw it. He stepped out on the wing, and it was cold and icy and foggy and the whole thing. So he got off, he actually slipped off the wing and landed in waist deep snow, because they were like in the woods. People were screaming and everything, so there was other people coming out. He managed, once, everybody was getting out, he managed to crawl back up on the wing, and he crawled inside because he didn't have his coat on. So he crawled back in to get his coat, and at that point there was a couple people trapped in the plane because there was a tree in the plane. Like, when he said they hit a tree, I thought like a little narrow little birch tree. It was a tree, and it was in the plane. The man that was in, and Scott had been on that side of the plane, the man that was in that side of the plane lost his leg. I think he lost one leg. So he is screaming because he's crushed by the tree, and there was other people screaming and crying, and the lights were all out, and the pilot was crawling around with a flashlight, and he saw Scott, and he goes, are you okay? And Scott goes, yeah. And he goes, then you need to get out of here because this thing's going to blow. So Scott got his coat and jumped out of the plane again, And then at one point, there's a picture of the plane, and then the tire is laying, I don't know, 40 feet away from it. And I guess he sat down on the tire because nobody knew what the hell was going on. And emergency, no one was coming for them because when the plane flew overhead, people in the airport heard the plane, but then it never landed and no one ever came in, and it was dark, so you couldn't see. And they thought, oh, it must have continued on to the other airport, which is a 2-hour drive away, but it would have been, quick. So nobody knew. One of the people that jumped out of the plane ran in waist-high snow to get to the airport, and he ran in, and all the people are waiting for their loved ones, and he runs in and he goes, the plane crashed. Everyone was freaking out. So they finally figured out, like, someone needs to get help, so the fire trucks and everyone came, but it took a while to get to the plane because of the snow. So it was an Air Canada flight. It was flight 646. There's no photos. There were 39 passengers and 3 crew. There were 35 injuries. All survived. There was 42 people. It was a Canadair CL600-2B19 regional jet. So it was weather in Fredericton was difficult. Report weather gave 100 feet of vertical visibility. Why isn't there photos? Okay, so I have the picture here of the plane in the woods that I will insert. Let me just get this photo. Yeah, there's 2 pictures here. We have a picture of like the investigators in the airplane looking at the tree. Yeah. So that was 20 years ago, and he's here, and because he's here, we have Brendan Kerrigan. It's just so crazy what could have happened all those many years ago. So there you go, December 16th, 1997. I am a little more awake now, so I'm going to get working on my project here, and I will show you what it looks like when it's all done and everything, and then I'll show you after Christmas, or after I know Dad gets it, because I don't know what, he'll probably get it by Easter at this point. I'll show you what it looks like when I get it all done. Okay, and then I'll take you to Hyundai with me, and I might have time to... the Walmart there across from Hyundai is a little sketchy. There's a creepy guy that's going around grabbing people there lately, and they can't catch the guy. So yeah, I might just stay at Hyundai today, because it's a little creepy. An oil change and filter doesn't take too long. It's usually about 45 minutes. So I might just sit in the waiting room and show you what that looks like. Kerrigan, yeah. Are you coming with us when we go to the hairdresser? Huh? No. No.
Are you still waiting for the elves to show up?
Yeah, the lady said she was coming for that thing and she never showed up. Oh. Huh? No, I know, but it's like just still sitting there. I thought she was coming last night to get a... Guess not. Anyway, alright, I'm gonna continue working and then go get some lunch. It's still only 11:53 because I got up so early this morning and got going to the car place that I got stuff accomplished early. Oh my god, I'm just like throwing paper on the floor pretty much. My garbage can was full 3 days ago. Don't judge me, Father. I'm busy. I will get my housework done. And then I'm thinking I might do it. I want to do the housework on Wednesday so that it's all done for Thursday and Friday and everything. And then Christmas, I'm just going to feel it needs to be done again. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just leave it. I'll run around with a vacuum maybe later. And then I'll just leave it and then do a great big housework maybe like Saturday or something next week. I should have just did it Wednesday night or Thursday night. But I didn't get to it. I just like the house to be clean. When we were kids, we always got brand new sheets. You always got brand new sheets and brand new jammies for Christmas. Oh, it was so nice. Just crawling into bed with new sheets.